You're watching the Ohio State Football Report here on Chat Sports. I'm Matt Goldman, and we're 2 days away from Ohio State playing their second game of the year against Western Michigan. And the Broncos are coming to town at Ohio Stadium at 7:30 p.m. Let's get it going. But first off, I got to ask you guys, if you haven't subbed yet, please hit that button down low for our Buckeyes. We've been averaging subscribers every day. We're moving up in the rankings in this Ohio State content world, but I need your help. If I could just get a few more people to hit that button, hit those noties as well of when we're posting videos, I would be really appreciative of that. And I've been seeing everyone in the comments as of late, and we're growing in those numbers quickly, so join the family while you can. And let's talk about Ohio State football. Burning questions that I'm going to answer for you today. I think a big one that has been talked about for a long time now is, are these the best wide receivers in the nation? We obviously have the debate a lot. Is Ohio State wide receiver you? It's between them or LSU. I think it's up in the air, but right now, currently, this is the best wide receiver room in the country. I don't think you can stop anybody in this receiving room. Starters, or even Brandon Inniss on the bench, or even some other guys that are younger, upcoming players like Bryson Rogers. Dez Bryant posted this picture today, and someone asked, is this the best wide receiver room in the country? His response, not up for debate. Look at that picture. First off, that's a hard picture right there. You got to love what you're seeing. Carnell Tate, Emeka Egbuka, and Jeremiah Smith. That's a sophomore, a freshman, and a senior. I mean, that is a scary trio when you look at it. And then someone responded to Dez Bryant on Twitter today, and he said this. When they showed him a video of the USC wide receivers, he said, they are nice. I got high hopes for USC this year, but Ohio State wide receiver room is very, very different. I'll take that all day. I mean, that's a compliment I will take from a wide receiver who is highly respected in the NFL. I grew up a Giants fan. He was a Cowboys player. I didn't really like him from a Giants fan perspective. But the fact that as a legit wide receiver and someone who knows football really well says that, I love seeing that. And that's the question I'll answer is yes, they are the best wide receiver room in America. Now the second one, will both starting running backs, TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, have 100-plus yards each in a game this season? And I did the math. I tallied it up between these two guys, and they're beasts. We know that. They're 1A, 1B. They are hyped up as the best running back duo, in America. Between these two, Judkins in his 2 years at Ole Miss had 14 games in his career of 100-plus yards running on the ground. TreVeyon Henderson, 9. And for TreVeyon, the number's a little lower, even though he's a year older than Quinshon, is because of the fact he's had so many injuries he's had to deal with during his time at Ohio State. The fact that these two have had these numbers already and that they're putting them up at the ages they are with some of the injuries they've gone through, especially Henderson, I think it's incredible. And I'll say this, easy money, take that bet. The Buckeyes running backs will each get 100 yards in a game this season. Heck, I think it could happen even this game against Western Michigan. They were pretty good against Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's not the same team we've seen, especially rushing the ball the last few years. This Ohio State team, as long as the O-line picks it up, these running backs really have a opportunity to shine in the spotlight and be the best two in America. If you want Ohio State to beat Western Michigan, trust me, I think Ohio State's going to handle their business with ease at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday evening. But if you want them to beat Western Michigan, hit that like button. Support the Bucks. Scarlet and Gray all the way. OH, let's get it going. All it takes is 1 second. Hit that like, cha-ching, and there you go. And the Buckeyes are supported. The third question on my list, is this the best defense in America? So I'm asking a lot of best or top players. Well, that's why I think Ohio State's one of the best teams in America, and they're ranked 2 right now, but I think they can even be number 1 in the country. I know Georgia's really good as well, but I believe they can be, and they are. I think this Ohio State defense is penetrating at all levels when you look at it. Linebackers, they had to replace the production from this past year with Tommy Eichenberg and Steel Chambers off to the NFL. They replaced them with young players in Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, C.J. Hicks, and Cody Simon. Cody Simon being a senior and a captain. But besides that, between Reese, Hicks, and Styles, they're all sophomores to freshmen. Like, they're young guys. These guys were barely in high school. And looking at the rankings from last year, when Ohio State didn't have these guys playing on the field much, except for really Cody Simon and Sonny Styles, they were still beasts. I mean, look at these. They were 3rd overall in the country in terms of defense. and Michigan and Penn State were in front of them, but Ohio State had to play Notre Dame, a much harder non-conference opponent than these two had to last year in their non-conference, so that skewed the rankings a bit. But when I look at this Ohio State defense, I think they are that good and that they brought all the guys back. They brought JTT, Jack Sawyer, Denzel Burke. The entire DB room came back. They all could have been second to third round picks if they really want to and made some real dough in the NFL and made 53-man rosters that would be starting this weekend in the NFL. But they decided they wanted those gold pants to beat Michigan, and they thought to themselves, okay, we're Ryan Day's first recruiting class. We're going to support our boy. We're going to help our coach out, and we're going to be those guys. So the fact that all this experience is back and the boys are back together in the brotherhood, I think that's special. My fourth burning question kind of leads me into this, what I just talked about with Michigan. Can OSU stop Michigan? They're on a 3-year losing drought right now. Ohio State hasn't technically won since 2019. That pains me to say because I started college at Ohio State in 2020 and Michigan ducked Ohio State during the whole COVID era, and Ohio State made the national championship that year. I think we know how that would have gone based on the fact that Michigan won, not one, but just 2 games in 2020. So I think Ohio State would have handled business. Now, the big question is, can they stop them? Michigan has talent, no doubt about it. They have arguably the best player in America, and his name is Mason Graham. And I didn't even mention Will Johnson in this graphic. But the fact that they have Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, who are legit prospects for the NFL, especially Mason Graham, I think he will be a top 5 pick for sure in the NFL draft. If Ohio State's O-line can handle these two, and they need to handle their business accordingly this year in Columbus. If they can control these guys and let Will Howard throw the ball or get the running game going, Buckeyes are going to win all day. They're going to dominate against TTUN, and it's going to be a dub for Ohio State. It's going to end the drought. The Buckeyes will be a top 4 seed. They'll be going to the Big Ten championship, playing most likely Oregon, maybe Penn State, depending on how Drew Aller is this year. And they're going to have a lot of success, and that's what I'm excited about. Now, my question for you guys is, will the Buckeyes beat Michigan this year? Type Y for yes and for no in the comments section. I mean, this is an easy answer if you're a Buckeye fan. First off, you have to have confidence in your team. So I love if you say Y, that means you got confidence in these Bucks. But also, a lot is riding on Ryan Day this year. And I also don't think Michigan has really a good quarterback. If you watch that Fresno State game, I watched it all. I watched all of Michigan's games, just like I watch Ohio State. You got to watch the enemy. You got to make sure what they're doing is not as good as you. And I can tell you for a fact, losing J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum and that entire offensive line that they had last year, which was legit, I'll give them that. And they were all 50-years, so they were all 22-year-old, 23-year-old men playing in college football. They were good last year. But they have no quarterback this year. Davis Warren, Jack Tuttle even, who's like 24 at this point, or Alex Orji, who can barely throw a football more than 10 yards down the field, that's always going to be inaccurate. They don't have a quarterback that's good enough. They have Donovan Edwards, but my boss James Yoder and I talked a few days ago, who's on the Michigan Football Report. He said, the Don is not as good as people think anymore. Kalel Mullings is legit. Will Johnson, Mason Graham, they're legit. But if they don't have a quarterback, I don't think they'll have success. My last burning question of the show, national champions. That's a pretty simple question right there. Will they win? Will they be the top team in America this year? That's a loaded question in certain ways, and there's a lot of different opinions that a lot of people will say because that's just how college bias works. But at the same time, it depends on the conference, depends on the schedule, and the players. A lot of people can say Georgia. Yes, Georgia's legit. I think they have a top defense, great offense. But I think this Ohio State team is top-notch. They have all the tools to be such a good team. They have an experienced quarterback who we're going to see more of this weekend, hopefully air it out. They have an OC in Chip Kelly, who pretty much invented the West Coast offense and had so much success in the NFL, at Oregon, at UCLA. Kind of anywhere he's went, Chip Kelly's had success. And I believe the fact that OSU has the star talent at wide receivers, as I talked about earlier, that's going to be a difference maker. Then the defense that I also said. They have arguably the best defense in the country. So you combine the best defense, good special teams, good quarterback play, and hopefully the O-line gets to where we need them to be, then that's a good thing. They have the talent to win. They have everything needed to be a national championship team. You look at the NFL talent in the mock drafts, there's like 7 Ohio State guys projected to go in the first round right now. That's a record if that were to happen today. But it comes down to QB play, which last year wasn't enough to beat Michigan or to be national champions or even to make the playoffs with Kyle McCord. Is it going to be enough this year with Will Howard? That's the burning question. And the other thing It's going to come down to the O-line. That's what I talked about in yesterday's show. They struggled. They're not that good, especially Josh Fryer on the right side. But if they can start patting that down and Justin Fryer, our O-line coach, can start just cementing that, then the run game's going to come together. Will Howard will have more time, and OSU will be victorious and hopefully beat Michigan, beat Oregon twice, because they're going to play them in the Big Ten Championship is my prediction. And then they get a top 4 bye, and they continue to roll through everybody in America, and they are the national champions. That's going to do it for today's show. If you got any opinions, comment down below. But also, hit me up on Twitter. We can DM, we can talk about the Buckeyes, college football. I absolutely love it, and I appreciate everyone watching. Go Bucks.